Ancient space travelers, ABO-ATIA. Mama, look! What are those things in the sky? They look like sparks of fire. They're not sparks of fire, my child. They are flying hunks of rocks that are molded around the bodies of ABO-ATIA, little people who travel throughout the universe in them. Then, observing the questionable look on her child's face, she added, "Listen, I'll tell you a story about them. According to our ancestors, there are small people in them called ABO-ATIA, and they travel throughout the universe simply by willing it. What we see is the shell that encases their bodies. It protects them from hazards and debris while traveling at speeds much faster than light." "But how can they live in them, Mama? How do they eat and sleep? They seem so small," inquired the child. "The reason they seem so small is that they are so far away. However, inside their shell-like rock, I'm told, is very roomy and comfortable, like being in a house that changes its shape to accommodate their bodies. As for food and drinks, they're not like us regular human beings. Their needs are satisfied before they even become needs. They have only to desire something." "Can they live on Earth like us, Mama?" inquired the child. "Oh, yes," continued his mother. "Only when visiting worlds like ours, they change themselves to small people and usually live in caves. You see, they don't like to be seen by humans, who often make fun of them. They have to be very careful when sleeping in caves, too, so as not to roll over and touch a wall while asleep. If so, they could wake up and find themselves thousands of miles away, or sometimes even on another planet. Their magic is just that powerful." One such incident occurred when 4 of them were sleeping in a cave dwelling some planet far out in space. An earthquake occurred. The force threw them against the cave wall, and each was sent hurling through space at a very fast speed. They went in different directions. One of them, ABO-ATIA, crashed into a vacant planet, now called Earth. The force of his landing caused him to bury himself deep within the bowels of the earth on which we now live. After regaining consciousness, he tunneled his way to the surface and found that he was in a world with no human beings. There were only sea creatures and wild animals. Now, the reason for the existence of the ABO-ATIA is to populate vacant planets throughout the universe. "Oh, no, no," he said to himself. The ABO-ATIA must have thought it was more fun to fly around in space. But there was no getting around it. It was an unwritten law that whenever one of his kind happened up on a world without people, it became that ABO-ATIA's duty to populate it. This was a simple matter for those of his kind, since they had the power to produce humans by simply unattaching any part of the body and burying it in the earth. Then 7 days later, a human would appear. The body part could be a fingernail or even a single hair. Whatever part was used, it would immediately replace itself. A new ABO-ATIA is emerging from the center of the planet Earth on the continent now known as Africa. To form 2 humans, the ABO-ATIA would remove and bury 2 parts of his body, separating them by 200 to 300 miles. One would become a male and the other a female. He knew the 2 would eventually find each other. Sounds simple enough, huh? Well, it was. That is, until he realized just how big the planet Earth was. If the body part had not been buried, it might have been eaten by the wild animals of those days. There were certain precautions that had to be taken and rules to be established. For instance, he had to circumrotate the planet, first around its center, going from east to west, and then circumrotate south to north, northeast to northwest, southwest to southeast, and all points in between. Sometimes you might see one of them resting on top of a giant umbrella tree, a mountaintop, or you might even come up on one sleeping in the forest. But take care, you must never cross their path. However, that's another story. So after many years of hard work, 7 days in his time, he was able to look back at all he had done with great satisfaction. The ABO-ATIA would then take off in pursuit of what we Earthlings call a comet, evolving himself into one.
That's it.